It's Friday, so you know it's time for Hot Topic Special. You know how we do it on Fridays. We take you through some of the week's hottest stories. We also have a special guest who is one of my favorite baby girls. Honestly, don't mind me. Today is a party-filled day, so please allow me to channel some of it to you. We're about to have a great show today. All the girls are just giving me the eyes because they can't sing, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, because Jasiri is on the road today, grab someone and tell that other person to grab another person because it's time for Hot Topic Special. And you know what we're doing special? It's gonna be amazing. Tolu, are you with me?
I feel like all those voices coming from.
So that's nobody to blame but yourself.
It's coming from here.
Why do you say so because pointed? Tolu has no party decorum. Wow. She went to a party yesterday. A Balogun party. And you know when it's a Balogun
party?
Like a Balogun party. Oh my God, not like a
Balogun party. They don't stop.
What time she would have reached home today?
No, Tolu is a night crawler. How she's this brilliant? I'm still wondering.
So brilliant people don't party?
It's like
really. It's not that. It's not that.
It's a bit like a lot to believe. As she come and speak a bougie. But the result of our party has been happening constantly. Tongue tie.
I agree on that one. Yes. But people of God, when you see like 25 courses, food just it got to a point. Me and my sister-in-law said we can't. My husband and my brother-in-law, take. I said no. No, thank you.
Just be very boo-boo to
I want boo-boo. And the boo-boo was fine. I was feeling, man. I was very fine. My husband was eyeing
So
me.
you still got home before you went for the party?
Yes.
Tolu, you need medal.
I love a good old one bear. I didn't used to love it like this, but I think I'm in the prime of my life and I enjoy it. But anyway,
let's keep it going because this is a conversation. We are going to really get into Friday. But let's start today's conversation on the streets of Lagos, where we went to feel the pulse of Nigerians on the new 50% tariff hike by telecom service providers and the proposed counter move by the Nigerian Labour Congress and NLC to go on a strike against this increase on the 1st of March. This is just Syria on the streets.
The former tariff was more preferable than the new one. Before now, we are complaining that the former one is not even favorable to us. How much more when, the tariff is being increased?
It's killing everybody, like including myself. I cannot imagine doing data. Then I usually used to do data for 6,000 naira, and then now going forward, I'm seeing 11,000 naira. So where do you expect me to get 11,000 naira doing data for every month?
We cannot be spending money for food. Actually, be spending more on data because it's through communication when we communicate to our friends, family outside there. So we need to make it easier for us to.
We feel very, very bad and hard because since they increased that, so we're not used to move on with our phone again like that because data is too much expensive to all. I used to get 4 gig, 3 gig, but now even to 1 gig now, it's very hard to me.
Please, we are begging. We are not doing shakara, we are begging. Please just reduce it. Just bring back the data, the normal one. Just bring it back because I can't just be wasting 2,000 naira upwards just by data. That won't even last for 1 month.
The economy in Nigeria alone is, is killing with the youth. Yes, let me just use it that way. Now, not to talk less of data, and that's most what we are using to work, do a lot of things. Sure, you understand? Please, government should look at this. The suffering is too much. Please, government, help us to look at this. They say they are going on strike, right? They should go on strike. They should sit. They should look at this because before we used 1,000 naira data monthly before, but now it's not like that again. It's now about 2.5. Things are going more expensive, and once it go up, for it to come down, that's a problem.
On the other way around, if we are to look at the so-called communication company, they too are trying to consider their own profit rates, like the increase in their profit and it likes. But on the other way around, we the Nigerians, we too have to consider what we have as income. Ideally, 10 years back, 1,000 naira, the net present value of 1,000 naira 10 years back compared to now are two different things entirely. So as they too are trying to shoot up their own profit, it's also telling on the citizen too. So I think the government should find a way around it to balance things.
Nigeria as a whole, we are equal to the tax. So government should look onto it. Whatever decision they are taking, whatever they are doing, let them put the masses, at their heart, at first beneficiary of whatever decision which they are taking.
This is Nigeria. Even if we go on strike, even if they go on protest, whether they do not go, I definitely know that the government are not going to do anything on it.
The government need to look onto us.
You see, I heard
the guy said the government should look onto it.
Stop it. We said just on the street.
On the street.
No, it's all right. They need to look onto it because all of us are. It's not easy.
Okay. So my own from this, the unanimous or the bane of contention that's on the streets, on the minds of people is the affordability. It's expensive. So while that was going on in my mind, I'm like, okay, you just have to reprioritize. While, of course, there's a pandering to strike, but reprioritize what you focus your data on.
Who should reprioritize now? The people?
Look at it, because you don't like to stay on social media all day. Is that why you're asking for?
Not that.
Some of us can live without it.
She hasn't even learned it. Do you understand? Sometimes you're taken away from your page because you saw something that you like. Sometimes you're taken away from your original goal.
You go onto social media, sometimes you're like, why am I here?
You know exactly.
No, I do not agree. I do not agree with that because
whether we like it or not,
I'm going to be very honest.
Either you pay for more data, or you just streamline, cut your cost.
Or there is an option of cutting down the price generally. Look, we cannot underemphasize the kind of opportunities that come from just being online. Now, I'm not saying.
Okay, so let me ask you. Do you think? I'm not taking anything away from what you're saying, but let me ask you. Do you really think that what goes up comes down here? Do you really think that can come down?
No, Nigeria comes down. I need to agree with you on that. Once something goes up,
no, if people fight, because it's ridiculous, honestly. And I
agree.
There was a time when I remember it was 500 naira for is it 2 days or something. There was one special. That's what I used to do, and honestly, I dreaded it running out because that's where opportunities came for me. So as it's running out, I'm looking for money to buy another one. So I know what people feel when they talk about how expensive it is and how much they need data.
And the thing is, it's not just because.
Sorry, Tolu, go ahead.
I stole your thunder. Sorry. All I know is that it's because of everything coming to us at once.
Yeah.
People are just settling into this transportation cost. Yeah. And now that even some fuel stations have brought some of their prices down, it's not reflecting on, from Aja to Yanokmaja, it's 3,500. Kwa. Yeah. So imagine when somebody is battling that. The NEPA tariff. And NEPA, even with the tariff hike, light has been up and down lately. Cost of food, the basic amenities that Nigerians need to survive. Yeah. Healthcare, if you are sick, I had malaria last week. Just 2 medicine, I spent 10,000 naira. Imagine the common man that has malaria. Now, you are adding data that people are using to do e-commerce. Little businesses are thriving on it. But yet, you are asking them to just let it go.
I'm so sorry. Jesse is winning another award. Jesse, I'm so sorry. It just came into my WhatsApp. Jesse is about to win another award.
You could have seen Tolu's expression first.
I'm reading Tolu's going on.
I said, Jesus.
I just saw how, like, so you think all the hard work we put on this table would not be noticed?
Can we even hear?
Does it come with money?
Or
international?
I'll give you guys the details. We got no.
Let's go on a break, please.
Send it to us. No, the reason. See, Lord, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I need to say something. We have not had a tariff hike in 10 years. These guys are battling the same increase in fuel, increase in I was paying attention. Increase in fuel, increase increase in diesel that we're all battling, inflation has also hit them hard. I don't necessarily agree with the statements that many of them have made that if we don't increase, that the industry is going to go flat. They were asking for 100%, they got 50%. There's a lot of issues. We've increased airline tickets, fuel has increased, cost of food has increased, cost of transportation has increased. You talked about electricity. How do we think that this industry will continue if they don't? But people are saying, especially as the National Assembly, I'm rushing, that National Assembly is saying, people are already complaining about the quality of your services now. Are you guaranteeing us that with this 50% tariff increase, we're going to see an increase in the quality of your services?
When has that ever translated into that? Increase in something means better quality in something. Have you seen, I don't want to call the name of the soap.
Please don't call it.
But yeah. But these, they call it toilet soaps, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen the bars lately?
No, have you seen noodles lately when you open the sachet?
Everything is reducing in size.
We gotta go on a break. I'm so excited, guys. Just hearing. Never get another award. I'll tell you during the break.
Okay,
We're still excited by extension until we understand what's fully going on. But like Tolu, let's get back to it.
African award.
But anyways, we're still talking about the tariff hike, the increase in tariff hike and
quality. Yeah, Tolu was empathizing with the
no, you have to, because let's think about the number of people that they employ. If they have to downsize because they can't effectively also meet up with the challenges of the current economy, who's still going to lose? We're going to be having more Nigerians unemployed. It's a balancing act. And the place where I support Lolo is where she's saying all of these things are coming at Nigerians at the same time.
Everything happens to us at the same time. It's not
there's no ease. We're barely able to catch our breath from one week to the next. The NLC, I heard people say, oh, NLC should go on strike. But if NLC goes on strike, are you going to support them? Are you going to be out there with them? But you know, they called the strike, was it about a week and a half ago? The day before, the day of the strike, they had a closed door meeting. Strike was
People don't even really have confidence in the NLC anymore.
One thing I understand is there are always alternatives. And even if there's going to be an increase, it shouldn't be this much. I was watching a movie yesterday and the person says, I didn't know rock bottom had a basement. I'm like, that's Nigeria, because everything that say that again.
Yes. Rock bottom has a basement. Wow. And very soon rock bottom will have a the basement will have a sub-basement.
I'm telling you. When you hear Nigerians saying, as a last year, they're like, thank God they still have data to laugh. But now, it's like everything you're hoping on, it just gets wiped away.
But you know, this country, one of the things I need to commend Nigerians for is our ability to pivot.
Stop.
It's not commendable anymore. It's not. We might say that, things are hard, but Nigerians still find a way.
Until there's no way. That is the issue. That is the issue. That's why we keep getting thrown these things, because they know our leaders that we will pivot. Not die. We will adjust. Captain is talking about adjustments. People are already adjusting. Do you know what impact this will have on very micro, small, nano businesses in the country?
Last year we talked about on this table. It was a group. You know, that time it was really intense for us here. We sat down and we spoke about how people were adjusting. You spoke about a woman who she eats one day and a day in between just so that her children...
Was me, yeah.
So there's a lot happening at the same time. This at the same time happening started from last year. And even way back. You sat on this table and said, just when you think we can't get any baka,
Nigerians will dig a hole in the wall.
Just keep going.
It's crazy.
Keep going.
It doesn't make any sense. So Blessings is talking about finding a balance or finding a compromise to this, and I don't know how much was said in terms of a compromise, because we heard from the there's so many unions, but there's the Telecoms Owners Association of Nigeria, and then the subscribers. And the subscribers made it seem like they were not at the table when the ministry met with the telcos and whoever else needed to be at the table to have this conversation.
Yes.
So who was there representing the needs and the voices of Nigerians? We're happy to see all the amount of data that's being sold. We're happy to see the number of Nigerians that are online, because, as she said, connectivity has done a lot.
It's done
Just
a lot.
imagine how businesses have boomed, because I don't have to have a storefront.
Yes.
I'm using my data to advertise. I'm using it to sponsor ads, and I'm making money.
Awards. We're winning awards. We're putting our films on YouTube.
So it definitely has hit people, but again, we always talk about enabling business environments. I think at the end of the day, the person at the center of all of this issue is government. You've made it difficult for your people to live, breathe, eat, move, sleep, walk around. You're making things not making things are difficult because of your decisions and your economic policies for businesses. At the end of the day, we're all going to look to you. What are you going to do to make it easier? Can we breathe?
AI is creeping.
What did your president say when he was a candidate? Tinubu said, "Let the poor breathe." Right now, the poor in Nigeria are not breathing.
Breathing, Ken.
They're not breathing.
There's no
We're even
middle
paying for
class
the air.
anymore. There's no middle class anymore. It's either you're rich or you're poor. And if you belong, well, the people that are the demography of poor are swallowed the middle class. So you can imagine how many houses are and many homes. Everybody just keeps adjusting. But I still find that Nigeria will still find their groove.
Hi guys, and you are still in February.
I must go.
Next, March is around the corner, and then we ask it, how long will these skeletons follow us? Will these shadows follow us? We started crying on this table and talking about how dire things were last year. And it's nicely getting into 6 months since we had that conversation. And things are still getting dire. So which way Nigeria really?
Honestly, it used to be cues before, but it's not anymore. Finding groove in the midst of, yes, it's a superpower, but it's one that has been clearly taken advantage of because they know that we would learn to adapt and we'll keep going deeper and deeper until there's no way left. I do not think that when you think that, oh, Nigerians won't allow this, before you know, we'll start writing letters to each other. I don't think we need to get to that point. I think that we need to wake up, stand up, and because the reality is there's always an option.
I almost put a soundtrack to that. Wake up! Collect your money, collect your money.
At this point, it's not money we're trying to collect. We just want to breathe. All right, we're going to breathe this conversation as well. Our guest is in the house. Everybody's favorite baby is going to be joining us, talking about her journey in Nollywood and also sharing her thoughts on some of the biggest stories of the week. It was another rumble, not in the jungle, but in the Senate yesterday. Man, we have the details if you have not seen what is probably at the top of the trending tables here in Nigeria. I'm awake now. The coffee has done me good. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break. Stay with us. You see my smile? It's evidence of a good night. Lolo's admiring me. Was I not so fine?
Of course, you were beside your husband. It's expected. You fed off his good.
I was fine on my own anyway. Anyway, welcome back to Jasiri. It's Hot Topic Special Friday, and our guest is now in the studio with us. Many first fell in love with her as Toyo Baby on the series Jennifer's Diary, and over the years she has carved her own niche, her own path.
You didn't correct that too.
It's not Toyo Baby. It's Toyo Baby.
Exactly.
Baby. Don't swallow.
Yes,
Toyo Baby.
I was waiting for her to talk.
Not baby.
Can I finish my
Toyo Baby?
Can I finish my intro now? Thank you. Anyway, we fell in love with her as Toyo Baby. And she has taken steps since then, faced challenges head on, and has now come back to our screens, the big screen, in fact. So from also writing a deeply personal book, stepping away from acting, and now returning as well, Juliana Olayode has a story that is full of growth, lessons, and resilience. It's Toyo Baby time! Roll the montage.
I'm so happy. That challenge Tolu. Not her.
The line is being told on
I did all that. The montage was done by me. I spent all night putting it together.
Thank you. How did you do it?
I sat down beside my editing console. Then I searched for her pictures. Then I did the whole graphic.
Did it how?
The way they do graphics. Anyway, yes, you can know that we're going to have a lovely, amazing time. I want to say welcome, Juliana, my baby. She's everybody's baby, actually. And I cannot tell you the story of Snacks. No, we won't go there. It's our inside joke.
Yes.
Anyway, we always ask everyone who sits on our chair, how are you?
How are you?
Anyway, how are you? And have you been missing me? Because two of us shared, that box. It's a little box, but the two of our size was able to fit into that highest grossing supporting actress. Wow. Anyway, we're excited. So let's ask you that basic question that we always ask everybody. How are you? Because most of the time, everybody just says that I am fine thing. How's Nigeria treating you?
Yeah, I'm fine, to be honest. I'm doing very Okay, Nigeria is treating me nicely.
Be honest.
Nicely, because I'm actually being honest. So, of course, like, we all know that life is full of ups and downs. So sometimes you feel like life is being really nice to you. Other times you feel like, oh my God, what's really going on right now? I don't know what I'm doing. But generally, life is good, especially with God. So yeah, I'm fine. And Nigeria is treating me nicely. I'm speaking prophetically.
Prophet, I'm Hallelujah challenge.
We'll take it. Okay, so let's talk about you a little before we go to the hot topics. And the topics are actually hot.
Yeah.
So your acting career, you started off on Jennifer's Diary, and you know that made you sort of a household name. How was that for you? Did you ever think that it would become something this big?
No, I didn't. So when I even attended auditions, I wasn't even sure that I was going to be picked to play the role. And I think we had done like 3 to 4 auditions. I can't remember clearly right now. So even when we started filming, I didn't know how big the character was going to become. I didn't know if it was one-off. We were just doing it. And then we were shooting beat by beat also. Then I think when I realized that people know me on the streets was probably when I think my mom had sent me to get maybe roasted plantain boli. And because when I started doing Jennifer, I was 18. So I had gone to the bus stop, of course, to buy boli. And then, Toyo baby. I said, oh my God. Like, okay, so you guys watched Jennifer's Diary. So I didn't even know that I didn't know that people already, at the impact. So yeah, it was, what word can I use for it now? It was really an experience, life-changing, of course. And yeah, very beautiful ride. And also full of so many challenges as well, because then you realize that now so many people have an opinion about you. And then people just feel like they can say whatever it is they want to say, and people have different, level of expectations about and all of that. And I don't think I really like that. Nobody does anyway, especially because you don't even know me. And you only know what you know, maybe from social media or from what other people are saying about me. So
okay, so we're going to get into our first story. We want to lay the foundation. When we come back, we'll get into that because it's a big story. I think almost everyone here in Nigeria is probably talking about it now. On Thursday, the Senate chamber was thrown into some chaos because of a heated argument that erupted between Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti after he ordered her to be escorted out of the Senate chamber. Now, it all started over a change of her seat at the Senate chambers. The tension began when Senate Chief Whip Senator Tahir Mongunu raised a point of order, alerting Akpabio to what he described as Akpoti's improper sitting position. However, before Mongunu could even conclude his statement, she challenged the situation, demanding to know why her seat had been changed without her consent. As voices rose and tempers flared, Senate President Akpabio attempted to restore order, but Akpoti stood her ground, refusing to back down. Frustrated by her defiance, Akpabio directed the sergeant at arms to escort her out of the chamber. Her microphone was also switched off as security personnel moved to remove her, but she retorted, "I'm not scared of you." I'm going to make you hold on. We're going on a break. When we come back, we'll watch the video and we will talk.
Pursuant to the provisions of our rules and in the exercise of the powers conferred on the Senate President to resume her new seat. If not, the Senate President may decide to exercise the powers conferred on him not to allow her to contribute to any debate.
Recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, Order 10 on privileges. Order 10 on privileges.
Distinguished Senator Natasha.
Any senator may rise at any time
can the
to
Sergeant
speak
at Arms
upon a matter of privilege suddenly
take her
arising,
out of the Senate.
and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege
Show me the
has
session
been
that allows suspension immediately.
Now, just to quickly add some context before we talk, the adjustment of her sitting, according to the Senate, this is an arrangement due to the vacuum created by the movements of Senator Ned Nwoko and Senator Francis Ezenwa from the PDP to the APC, enabling them to move seats to the ruling aisle of the divide in the chamber. So, majority has the place they're sitting, minority has the place they're sitting. Now, the Chief Whip of the Senate, Tahir Mungunu, while citing Order 6, Rule 2 of the Senate Standing Rule, says it permits the Senate President to reallocate seats to any lawmaker at his discretion. He also explained that Senator Akpoti's refusal to relocate to the new seat assigned to her left the Senate President no other option than to exercise powers not to allow her to contribute to any matter on the floor if she so remains on her previous seat. So a little bit of context and the standing rules of the Senate. We'll start with Juliana. Now with context, but after seeing the video as well, what do you think?
Okay, so I actually absolutely love Senator Natasha. She's beautiful. And I love that she always speaks up for herself. And, you know, I love that she's representing women there because we don't really have a lot of representation, you know, in politics still. However, I know that they have had different altercations before now, and you know, she has been called all sort of names, and they said a lot of nasty things to her. But from the video and from what had happened, just I think yesterday, I just think she said without our consent. So I don't know.
Her consent is apparently not needed based on the standing rules.
Right. So I just think that, you know, maybe she should have just left the seat and, you know, gone to sit where she has now been allocated to seat, then she can speak from there. But I also don't like the fact that, you know, it was almost a get her out of here, rather.
Almost like an immediate response.
Like, almost like take this woman out of here. I don't want to see this woman. I didn't like that. I wish that, you know, he didn't say that to her.
Blessings on me.
Yeah.
Blessings is brutal. Like you're doing like, you know when you do pop and the pop has to rise, and they used to do it like this, like blessings before you blow.
Look, right, I'm a strong advocate for women, especially women. I understand the things that Natasha has gone through, but honestly, if you ask me, I think this was just a lot of bottled up emotions being let out at the absolutely wrongest time. Now, I understand that, yes, sometimes, you know, they use demeaning words and all. From some of the things she was saying, if you watch that video again, at the end, she was saying things like, you have continuously silenced me, you have refused me from doing this. So clearly, it wasn't the issue of seat or no seat.
Yeah.
She knows her consent was absolutely not needed. She knows that according to, she was reading the laws of the Senate. And Mungunu also read the laws of the Senate. The Senate President has every right to reshuffle. And once you are reshuffled, you must speak at the seat you have been assigned. She wanted to speak, and they told her. In fact, it wasn't at first Akpabio and her. It was Mungunu and her. He had to report to Akpabio because she stood up and wanted to speak, and he stood up and said she's not allowed to. Yes, she's not allowed to speak at that seat because she has been assigned another seat. So honestly, I feel like she just made a fuss out of nothing. And to be honest, right, a lot of times these are the things. Now, I'm not saying that women, you know, go overboard with some of these things, but sometimes you just have to just lay low. If they ask you to move to another seat, if you want to quote the law, make sure that you know the law inside out. Now, some people's arguments are that the Senate President had done that previously to the former Senate President while he was in the Senate, but that is no excuse for Natasha's behavior. Are we going to correct one wrong with another wrong? Absolutely not. If they ask you to do something and it's within the jurisdiction of the laws of the Senate, just do it. It has nothing to do with being silenced. Again, I understand, but at the end of the day, she was constituting a nuisance. So if they asked her to leave, I don't see anything wrong. I'm not even going to lie about it.
Maybe because Blessing and I are towing similar lines. I always think that these days, when it becomes women versus men, we have to really be sure that we know what we're standing on, so that we don't make it about this is how women behave. And after some time, because we have so limited, how many women do we have in the Senate? Oh. There are not a lot. Yeah. So we don't even want anything to happen to the few that are there. Yeah. And that is why we need to hold ourselves, because most of the time women have to work harder to prove themselves, especially in leadership or in politics. So I would have said that even if Natasha wanted to blow whatever hot air that she needed to do. She should just stay within the ambit of the law. And if they are not out of turn, then she could have toned it down a little. Except it's more, sometimes when we react, it's not about what is happening presently.
Yeah.
It might be based on, Mogona was just too in her face and she's like, oh, I'm not just going to take it. And sometimes it's a human reaction. So nobody should just kill her or throw her under the bus. Because even if it's unreasonable, sometimes we can be hormonal too. No, I know you find it funny, but as now that I'm a woman in my 40s, I can honestly tell you that sometimes our hormones drive us. That you can make an issue at a molehill, at a mountain out of a molehill, just because you are just angry at that moment.
So I think we might be missing, so I think it's Blessings that said it, but we might be missing the influence or the reaction or consequences of microaggressions. Constant microaggression. You guys cannot forget, we talked about it last year when Akpabio told her, this same senator that he doesn't keep concubines, right? That he wanted to apologize to her after he made a comment regarding what she has said, comparing her conduct in the Senate to that of a nightclub. They have obviously had, I suspect, probably a little bit of constant friction and rubbing against each other. Now, if we're looking at the standing points of order that the Senator Tahir Mongono stated, it's fine. That is within the purview and the power of the Senate President. I would have hoped, not because of Natasha's sake, but anybody's sake, I wouldn't want to enter plenary and then that's when I find out my seat has changed. We don't know if maybe there was a notice sent. Maybe there was a notice sent. Because they all should know that once the senator defects, it's going to affect the seating arrangement. But I think, as Lola was saying, this has a lot of pent-up anger behind it. But I also think it behoves on the Senate President himself to be the person who rises above, to show, to be the one who is, at this point, what do we call it? The bigger person. Knowing that there have been issues between the two of them, I would have expected him to be the bigger person. As you, Blessings was saying, that the first issue was Tahir and her, and then it went to, and then the Senate President stepped in. He's like a father figure in that situation. He's the one expecting. Why should I expect the Senate President to be the bigger person, the person who orders decorum and not necessarily just says throw this woman out of the Senate floor? Why not?
No, you're not wrong in expecting him to be the bigger person. He doesn't just have it in him to be the bigger person, because it's repeatedly. If we want to toe the line, because the next picture Blessings is painting for us tells us that exactly. Listen, he has consistently done this, and everybody, we laugh about it.
We don't laugh about it because I don't find it funny.
On social media, guys, if you walk the streets on social media, you see that people laugh about it and kind of accepted Akpabio how he is. This is how he speaks. So the fact that what Tolu says, this is a man, please step into your shoes and act your age, act your role,
act your position.
I have a problem with the intonation. Then he said, get her out of here. Everyone on this table. This seems like they're pent up.
Are we going to pretend that we don't know that he didn't want her in the seat in the first place?
No, we're not going to pretend. We're going to say that even if you don't want her, you don't act better.
Like she said, he doesn't have it in him to act like the bigger person. And honestly speaking, he has been waiting for her to prove him right. And that's my own issue. The fact that it now feels as if, see what we're saying.
So that's why
this is what we've been saying about it.
That's why I said I wish that she just moved quietly and then spoke from a seat. That's why I wish she did that, because
sometimes it's
actually that's just absolutely why I wish she did that, so that she can then talk to him.
So that she can be the bigger person.
Yes.
But that is another thing I do not like.
Women are expected to always be the bigger person.
They make women you have to do.
I think what she's saying is fight from a place of right.
Then people can absolutely support you, like all the way. Because right now, even though you can't really support her or the way you would want to, because she also has faults.
But the thing is, whether we like it or not, there would always be issues in the House. And this particular senator, as it seems like they want to victimize her. They want her to just do something so that they can have something legitimate to hold on to. And that is why she has to be very tactical and careful, so that they don't have a good local standard to holder on matters of law.
Because like it or not, people are watching. When he made that statement about nightclub, I remember people came for him, right?
It was
so it's
so
not like he
annoying.
doesn't have the support of people. My mom would always say in Yoruba, "Shora, so that I need to jare konipada jebi." You know, it's like if you're if you're in, be careful so that someone who is in the right will not end up in the wrong. It's just one reaction it will take.
Yes.
Not say you too.
Why did you do that?
We have in our
Alright, let's quickly see if we get reactions. We have a break. This story is going to continue to roll because someone has given her 24 hours to apologize to Akpabio for her behavior. Let's see
Who is
she?
Who is he?
I didn't hear the whole. I'm still waking up. Hello, what are the reactions? Good girls don't get the corner office. A woman in a position of power must not allow herself to be curtailed under the guise of decorum. You must demand to be heard, and if denied, you take it by any means possible. All respect to Senator Natasha, brave woman. You cannot order another sitting senator out of the Senate chambers ever. It is the house of the people, and they're representing their people. There has to be full representation of the people they serve. She only yields out of mutual respect for her colleagues and the House. Why are those other senators trying to stop her from speaking? This is what the Senate floor is designed for, to speak for your constituents and for the people. If the others don't know why they're there, they should vacate their seats. Be that as it may be, she's not an employee of the government, the Senate President, or the Senate. She is a duly and legally elected representative and employee of the people. Those are the only people she answers to. Senator Akpabio is so authoritative, but I'll correct you, he can actually order people out of the Senate. That's quite a bold statement that I think referring to probably saying, I'm not afraid of you. It's interesting to see such strong personalities clash in the Senate. It's concerning to see such drama in the Senate. I hope they can focus on the issues at hand instead of personal conflicts. Let's take one more. Ordering a fellow colleague out of the floor, someone that is representing a whole senatorial district. Akpabio own, don't day too much. I can read that.
Don't day too much.
Leave me, don't day too much.
No, don't day too much.
You can't win. Just lead.
I'm not winning. We're going on a break. Let's take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll talk more to Juliana. Toya, baby, on your day. We'll have one more story for you. Stick around.
You have to sing.
You are still watching Jasir, and we're live on all our social media platforms. It's a Hot Topic Special Friday. Juliana, Toyo baby is in the studio. All right, so let's just, time after time. I know. Let's give you one for the road. Just, you understand?
Before that, I'm sorry. I want to come back to our special guest because like the previous story just is like we forgot that she was here. I'm so sorry. I was just
That's fine.
carried away about it. Yeah, but I want to ask about your book before we go to the next story. Your book, Rebirth. It was a deeply personal and bold move. What made you decide to write that book? What inspired it?
Okay, so wow.
Yeah. You see that coming?
We're taking her back.
Why did I write the book? I think it was just my way of sharing my story and also just following instructions basically to write my book. And when I say instructions, that's why I said wow, because I'm like, okay, now she's going to make me talk faith and talk spiritual. Okay, so basically just following instructions and just choosing to share my story, because I believe that a lot of people would be able to relate to the story and just see how God can actually just take you through different phases of life and then put you somewhere, even if you don't have the plans for it, but God already sees that this is where you ought to be, and then He would eventually make all those, curves and those places where you think that I don't want this kind of life. He would just eventually use that to push you into destiny. You know what I mean? Just like how, we all know the story. I believe we all know the story of Joseph and how, he was sold into slavery, and then now he has become a big boy.
Your outfit reminds me of him.
And then how he just eventually got his prison, and then the prison was the big break that he needed. Yes. So yeah, so basically just that. To just share my story.
Because we have that last story I want to take. But in terms of looking back, you know, I remember the responses, and Nigerians are very good at saying, but why is she talking about it? Yeah. Why does she need to come out and talk about it? We could have done without, you know, you can keep that to yourself. Looking back now, what was the most rewarding thing about sharing your story through your book?
The fact that other people felt seen. Yes, I feel like a lot of people's vulnerability has healed me, because we heal from vulnerability. Sometimes you feel like you're going through what you're going through, and you feel like you're the only person going through it, and that is even more traumatizing. And you know, you just feel like I'm the only one in the world going through this. But the minute you find somebody else who has gone through it or is going through it, then you feel like, okay, my life is not all that bad after all. So I feel like the fact that I just get, you know, to read reviews or meet people who will say, oh, that actually happened to me, and thank you for sharing the story, is so rewarding, that I can make somebody else feel seen, and that I can just make somebody feel like, okay, I only need to just hold on a little more, and that the miracle will still happen, is very rewarding.
It's on the way. Okay. All right. Now, the one for the road. Thank you for sharing.
So why were you staring at her beauty so much?
No, I was listening to what she...
You're still answering Lolo. Let's go.
Okay. I don't know why I fall for it. I really don't know why. So, like I said, let's give one for the road quickly. So, the federal government has officially banned fuel tankers with a capacity of 60,000 litres and above from operating on Nigerian roads. Did you know that? The new directive issued by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority will take effect from the 1st of March. The decision comes as part of efforts to reduce the frequent tanker explosions that have caused loss of lives and property across the country. Authorities say the move is aimed at improving road safety and ensuring better regulation of petroleum transportation. However, the announcement has sparked reactions from industry stakeholders with concerns over how it might impact fuel distribution and supply chains nationwide. With just few weeks to the enforcement date, all eyes are now on government on how they and the transport operators will navigate this transition.
And let's not forget, January 18, 2025, Dikko Junction near Suleja, Niger State, a fuel tanker overturned, and as locals gathered to collect the spilled fuel, it exploded. The disaster claimed over 100 lives and injured 69 people. A few days later, January 25th, Enugu-Onitsha Express in Enugu State, a fuel tanker collided with 17 vehicles and exploded, resulting in 18 deaths and 10 injuries. Juliana, we were speaking about this just a little bit in makeup and everything. What were your initial thoughts? This particular ban, how do you think is going to play out in the long run?
I think it's going to have a good and bad impact because we're going to suffer for it whether we like it or not. Even now that they have not even banned it, we are still suffering. It is just God that is helping all of us. However, I wish that, there's something I just wish that they prepare us before they make certain decisions. I don't think that we do that in Nigeria. Like, you just wake up one morning and then you see that they're already building the bridge. Nobody tells you.
And meanwhile, before they started, rumors will come out and they will debunk it. And then you see.
So I wish that they tell us in advance so that we can be prepared. And I wish they make other plans. Like, okay, why can't you get them on the rails so that you have just a few on the road and then the others on the rails, and then people will still have fuel, and you know, everything can keep going fine and going well. And so the other guys now that are not going to be carrying this kidney.
What about them? Because they're also responsible for a large number of accidents. Have you been on the road with these guys? They act like you're just a fly.
Do you know another thing?
Question in the
I don't want to happen is what happened some time ago when Lagos State stopped them from moving at certain times. They now they constituted a nuisance on all roads. All the Mile 2 road was filled with tankers lining up on the road. Apapa, unpassable, even Mowe, unpassable. Look at that.
That's not a fuel tanker.
That's not even a fuel tanker.
It's not. And I think one other thing we also, people talk about it, especially when we do roadworthiness here. Are your roads worthy for our vehicles? And I'm not saying this to excuse or justify anything, but if you see some of these roads that some of these guys have to ply, you wonder how they get through. Even you as a small car, you're like, how is my car going to go through there? So even as much as we're talking, some of it is the state of the road. There's driver distraction. Some of these vehicles are just old. and they shouldn't even be on the road. So who's allowing them in? Who's allowing people to use these? I think there's a larger a pipeline or a larger circular conversation than just an outright, not just a ban at this moment.
I hear that they have to rethink things, just like we always see on this table. They put in a policy, then they will now go back to think about it.
I won't be surprised by before March 1st if we hear a slight amendment to this policy.
There has to be. But anyway, I wish we had time. Tell you, this is not the last time.
It's not.
We haven't had enough. What a conversation we've had, from diving into her, the incredible story of our guests, to breaking down some of the biggest stories that made rounds this week. Today's show, had everything, even though we didn't get to every single bit. But I want to say, I want to say a very big thank you to our guests. Thank you so much for coming. We love your beauty on our chair. And, for the rest of the conversations we didn't have, that means you have to stick with us on this table, because somehow, some of them will develop. That means we'll come back to it. And at least I see where blessings is going. Maybe the Senate. To go, But from all of us on the table, we're going to say thank you, and we'll see you again next week, Monday, bright and early.